We're talking about controversial cures, and this next one has me the most excited of them all. Can energy waves like these help treat depression? Instead of drugs, could magnetic therapy be the controversial solution to pull your brain out of the darkness?
Depression became my life, and I have been through about 20 different therapists, and I have been on every antidepressant you can think of, and they wouldn't work.
After researching her options, this 46-year-old woman turned to TMS, Transcranial Magnetic Stimulation, which uses pulsed magnetic energy to stimulate and reset neurons in the brain. Using magnets for depression may sound unorthodox, but this groundbreaking therapy is being studied at top medical centers. TMS is promising, but still controversial, even though it is non-invasive and approved by the FDA to treat severe depression.
In my case, TMS saved my life. There's no doubt.
Is TMS hype, or the most outlandish cure yet for depression?
It's controversial, it's unorthodox, and it's revolutionary. But I believe this could be an effective treatment. And before we explain why this might work, let me show you the area of the brain we think is responsible for depression. And I've shown you brains before, but this is vitally important if you're going to understand this approach to taking care of depression. The brain is oriented, so the eyes are up front here, and the balance area in the back. So the front of the body, back of the body. And if you look at the brain, the part in the front is called the prefrontal cortex, and it regulates moods. It has interconnections. This is the prefrontal cortex here. If you divide this in half, it has connections to the rest of the brain, including an area called the hippocampus. It's sort of the eyes of the emotional system, and it links emotions that you're feeling and processing up here in the prefrontal cortex to the outside world. So, how can magnets treat this? Dr. Tariq Pereira is a specialist in this area. He's an assistant professor of psychiatry at Columbia University. He's here with his patient, Suzanne. Thank you both for being here. Appreciate it. So, Dr. Pereira, talk to me about this revolutionary and very controversial approach.
Yes, we have this device which can provide a very focused magnetic field to the part of the brain that mediates depression. What TMS does is it activates that region. If it keeps activating it, it teaches the brain to activate it, and then the brain picks it up and maintains that activity. And as a result, it is the first, it's actually a paradigm shift in psychiatry. It is the first biologically based treatment for depression in the history of psychiatry. Now we can finally go in and in a very focused way treat the brain just like you would treat the heart. So we are really much more biologically based with this treatment.
And Suzanne is joining us today. Now, tell me honestly, was this process helpful for you?
Life-changing.
It was.
Life-changing. I pretty much about the third week, I felt like a cloud had lifted, dark cloud, as we were talking about, lifted, and I was at dinner, and my son looked at my husband and said, "Dad, she's different. She's a new person.
Mom's back."
Mom is back. And I was that woman on that video, and it was, to hear that come from him was all the difference in the world.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
All right, so let me show everybody what Suzanne went through in an animation. And this is how researchers say that magnets work to ease depression. And it's set up this complex set of electrical and signals in the brain. So this is a magnet, right? And the magnet stimulates those coils, electromagnetic waves. And those magnets are placed on the right side of the brain. Those red waves that we're showing there go down to the prefrontal cortex. They are affecting these neurons because magnets, the energy will do that. And it gets into the neuron and it moves the ions back and forth. So the neurons will talk to each other differently. It turns the cells on in the brain that have been put to sleep. It also changes the blood flow to the brain. It enlarges those blood vessels. It allows you to take more oxygen. Those electromagnetic waves will create a cascade of events which change the electrical pathways by which we process information.